That's why this like woke stuff is perfect, because it doesn't hurt the bottom line of any corporation at all. It doesn't touch anything. Anyway, let's talk about the federal government and how much they are flexing the
now, there was a major drop in the number
of migrant crossings.
Migrants over the weekend. President Biden's team says it's proof their policy is working. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, for now, the White House seems to have avoided that fear of a huge surge at the southern border. But throughout the hemisphere, desperate migrants are still on the move. And here in Washington, the political firestorm is just beginning. The president speaking to reporters during a weekend bike ride, touting a drastic decline in the number of border crossings.
Much better than you all expected. They have gone down. My hope is they'll continue to go down, but we have a lot more work to do.
The administration's crediting its new, tougher asylum policies. They had been bracing for a surge at the border after Title 42 expired last week. The pandemic-era policy meant to deter crossings. Instead, Border Patrol agents Saturday detained around 4,200 migrants, a drop of more than 2,000 from the day before. But an increase in apprehensions is still possible in the days and weeks ahead. Across the region, tens of thousands of migrants remain on the move, fleeing violence, political repression, and despair in their home countries, amid a sea of misinformation about Biden's changing policies. ABC's Will Carr.
Bro, I'm not Alevi, bro. I'm not. Why do you keep asking? No. Manyak mısın oğlum? Allah Allah. Devamlı soru Alevi misin? Alevi misin? Alevi misin? Hayır değilim amına koyayım. Değilim. Pardon abi. Amma sordun amına koyayım ya. Ne olacak? Evet desem ne olacak yani? Baksana bak. Birden beri soruyor amına koyayım. Olsa ne olacak? Olsa ne değişecek? Ben Aleviyim. Sorunu alayım. Alevi is a different sect of Muslim in Turkey.
Was across the border in Mexico.
There are more than 1,500 people at this campsite in Matamoros, some staying in tents, others in makeshift tents that are made up of tarps.
It's just funny to ask me about it because I'm like the worst Muslim on the planet.
To make a successful asylum claim under Biden's new restrictions, migrants must first be denied protection in a country they pass through on their way to the U.S. border, or apply through an online app. But migrants say appointments have been hard to come by, and many don't have access to good cell service. Breaking those rules can lead to deportation and a 5-year ban on entering the country. Concerned about overcrowding in detention facilities, the administration wanted to release some migrants under supervision, but a federal judge in Florida blocked that plan.
We think it's a very harmful ruling. When, in fact, our Border Patrol stations become overcrowded, it is a matter of the safety and security of people, including our own personnel.
Now, the administration is also facing other legal challenges here, too. The ACLU and immigrants' rights groups say that the president's new asylum restrictions are cruel and mimic a Trump-era ban. They say it unlawfully restricts access to asylum. The White House strongly disagrees this morning, and they're pushing back against this, too. Michael.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mary.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube.
Just saying download the app when a majority of these people don't have a smartphone or don't have the service makes no sense. No. You're wrong. They do have smartphones. You're not wrong. They don't have service. The real problem isn't the app. The real problem is the app is not supposed to be streamlining the process. It's supposed to be dog shit on purpose, and only 10 people can fucking sign on every day. The app is literally just another bottleneck, deliberately designed to make it as hard as possible for people to like legally seek asylum. Because remember, what the news media is not covering here, what the news media is failing to cover here is that these guys Sorry. These guys are legal asylum seekers. Okay? They are trying to seek asylum legally. Okay? They have a right to seek asylum. They have a right to the legal process of seeking asylum. That's what the law is trying to change around that reality. The whole, like, you can only, you can't touch another country's soil before coming to America. All these laws are created against that prior law that we're talking about. Or rather, not talking about. Okay? So even in spite of how fucking awful asylum-seeking laws are, there is still a fucking legal right for these people to come and seek asylum in the United States of America. Even though they will frivolously deny actually valid asylum claims regularly. But the media should cover it as that. In my opinion, the media should stop being reactionary as fuck and cover it truthfully. That, again, these people are, once again, I repeat, seeking asylum legally in the country. They are doing something that is legal. Okay? That's it.
Secretary Mayorkas joins us now. So, Mr. Secretary, we're a couple days from the expiration of Title 42. What's your assessment of the situation at the border? It looks like the surge that you and many others had anticipated hasn't quite happened yet.
John, good morning. In fact, over the past 2 days, the United States Border Patrol has seen an approximately 50% drop in the number of people encountered at our southern border as compared to the numbers earlier this week before Title 42 came to an end midnight on Thursday.
So why is that?
John, we have been preparing for this transition for months and months, and we've been executing on our plan accordingly. And our plan is very straightforward. There is a safe, lawful, and orderly way to reach the United States and seek humanitarian relief. And that is through the lawful pathways that we have expanded under President Biden's leadership. And then there is a dangerous way to arrive at our southern border in the hands of ruthless smugglers. We have to incentivize the use of the lawful pathways and disincentivize placing people's lives in the hands of smugglers, and we are doing that.
So you've said that you're going to impose penalties on those who cross the border illegally. How are you doing that? And is that happening yet?
It certainly is. As a matter of fact, we've already removed thousands of people who have arrived at our southern border. We are enforcing our traditional immigration enforcement authorities under Title 8 of the United States Code. And we've also issued a rule that provides that if one arrives at the southern border without either accessing the lawful pathways we've made available to them or seeking relief in one of the countries through which they have traveled, that
Sup, you.
Oh my God, I've been muted this entire time. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, well, that's interesting. I guess he clickbaited me with the Turkish election stuff. We'll take a look at his take in a second. Let's get back to this.
then they will have a higher threshold to meet to make a successful asylum claim.
Well, you've said that they're going to be penalized. There'll be a 5-year ban for many of applying for asylum again.
That is what the law provides.
They could face criminal prosecution. Are we seeing that yet? I mean, have you imposed any of these 5-year bans yet? Have you started any criminal prosecution of those across illegally?
Well, no. So the sequence is as follows. We have already removed thousands of people. If they try again, then they are met with the 5-year ban and potential criminal prosecution.
Now, as you know, over the week, just late yesterday, we saw a Florida judge knock down your policy of releasing some of these migrants due to overcrowding without a court date, a court date to reappear. Are you complying with that ruling?
We are. We have an obligation to comply with that ruling. We respectfully disagree with the judge.
Nice.
We think it's a very harmful ruling. When, in fact, our Border Patrol stations become overcrowded, it is a matter of the safety and security of people, including our own personnel, not just the vulnerable migrants, to be able to release them. And this is something that administration after administration has done.
Do you have numbers? I mean, how many have been released without a mandated court date?
So we released a number because of the surge that we experienced before Title 42 came to an end. Now, with the 50% drop in the number of encounters at our southern border, we are executing our consequence regime exactly as planned.
Now, you said you respectfully disagree with the judge. The White House accused him of sabotaging your efforts to control the border. That was something we heard from the press secretary. He responded to that in his ruling quite harshly. This is Judge T. Kent Weatherall took issue with that characterization, and he said, quote, "This ignorant and dangerous rhetoric ignores the fact that the evidence presented in this case shows that the chaos that the president acknowledged has been going on at the southern border for a number of years is largely a problem of the defendants, the administration's own making. If it is sabotage for a federal court to tell the federal government it must comply with the law, then so be it." So what do you say to Judge Weatherall?
We respectfully disagree with the judge's interpretation of the law, his characterization of our actions, and we intend to litigate the matter, and I defer to the Department of Justice in that regard.
Well, you're also, of course, getting hit from the other side, those that are saying that you're being too harsh on the border, requiring that migrants seek asylum in a third country first, these penalties for those who cross illegally. The ACLU is suing to challenge that, and I want to read what one of the lead lawyers for the ACLU said. The Biden administration's new ban places vulnerable asylum seekers in grave danger and violates U.S. asylum laws. We've been down this road before with Trump. The asylum bans were cruel and illegal then, and nothing has changed now. So they're saying that this is effectively Trump policy.
Absolutely incorrect. Disagree with every aspect of that statement. This is not an asylum ban. We have a humanitarian obligation as well as a matter of security to cut the ruthless smugglers out. That is a responsibility of government, and we are doing that. And it is not, and John, it is not a ban at all.
Well, in one critical sense, it is the same as the Trump policy, right?
Absolutely not.
Well, the Trump policy was that you had to first apply for asylum in another country if you were coming from south of Mexico. That's exactly what you're doing.
No, that is not.
Explain.
Actually. Yes. So first of all, President Biden has led the greatest expansion of lawful pathways ever. What our rule provides is that an individual must access those lawful pathways that we have made available to them. If they have not, then they must have sought relief in one of the countries through which they have traveled and been denied. And if they haven't done either, it's not a ban on asylum, but they have a higher threshold of proof that they have to meet. That is a presumption of ineligibility that can be overcome. It is not a ban. And so I disagree with that in every regard.
So I also want to ask you, it was back in 2 years ago, more than 2 years.
Why? The question is why? Why do you need an iPhone app? Why can't you just do it in person like you have and continue to do so? It's not a ban, it's a fucking labyrinth. I mean, yeah, it's functionally a ban, right? It's identical to, I'm reminded of the Florida, like stimmies. When the stimmies were coming out in Florida, additional unemployment benefits were tied behind this like awful fucking website where they basically built this website on ticker tape specifically so that it would like fall apart. Because they wanted to make it as hard as possible to fucking gain any kind of unemployment insurance. That's it. And it's the same exact shit that's happening to migrants here. Where they basically made this application bad by design so that they can limit the amount of people that come in and go, these guys, we've given them so many pathways. It's really fucked up. It's an iPhone app. Think about how easy iPhone apps are. Come on. You got Tic Tac on your phone. Because they know people seeking asylum don't have an iPhone. That's not true. No. Okay, that part is also not true. Motherfuckers seeking asylum absolutely have iPhones. Guys, stop with this nonsense. Of course they have iPhones, okay? They have smartphones. They do. Like, they're human beings living in the 21st century. Yes, they have fucking mobile phones and smartphones, okay? Please stop. That kind of misinformation feeds into the fucking dumbass anti-refugee, anti-immigration sentiment that like Europeans have, where they're like, look at these Syrian refugees. They got smartphones, brother. How fucking refugee could they be? It's like, bro, everyone has one. Homeless people have one. You need it for survival. Okay? The idea that like an iPhone is this luxury is silly. Okay? Like, people in Africa as well, yes, also have smartphones, please. Everybody has some kind of fucking smartphone nowadays. Most people do. Like, what do you think, like, people, still use, like, pigeons or some shit? Or smoke signals? Like, what's going on? How are you supposed to apply to jobs and shit? How are you supposed to survive? It's not just for your Uber Eats, you know what I mean? It's the best possible way to have like a computer, an affordable computer in your pocket, okay?
Years ago, that the president put Vice President Kamala Harris in playing a critical role in terms of trying to stop the flow of migrants across the border. Where has Vice President Harris been on this? Are you in regular contact with her? When was the last time you spoke to her?
Vice President Harris reached out to me earlier this week. That effort is a years-long effort. And Vice President Harris has led the investment of more than $3 billion in the Northern Triangle countries of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
So, I mean, it's years long, but it's already been going on. I mean, she was more than 2 years ago she got this responsibility.
Absolutely. That effort began in the Obama-Biden administration. It was terribly taken down during the Trump administration, and Vice President Harris has led an extraordinary effort to address the root causes of why people flee their homes in the first instance. Okay. Violence, poverty, corruption, authoritarian regimes, extreme weather events, persecution, and the like.
All right, Secretary Mayorkas, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, John.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking.
I had a Mormon coworker once who was the only employee without a car or cell phone. We were all wondering how he got the job. CIA, baby. Anyway. Oh, this is a crazy... If this is the story I'm thinking of, it's a crazy one. But hold on. So here's some additional stuff to talk about. Number one. I have officially outlived Vice Media, which is kind of crazy.